Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to my daily yoga series. This is a different practice for each day of the week. Today, of course, is Wednesday, and as we're halfway through the week now, I thought it might be time for a bit of stress relief. So this practice is a stress relieving stretch, a little bit slower than some of the other flowing sequences, but a really nice stretch for the whole body. We're going to begin in an extended child's pose. So move your body with care, come onto the hands and the knees. Bring the big toes together to touch. Take the knees a little bit wider than hip distance apart, almost as wide as the mat. Sit back towards the heels, maybe just moving the hips a little bit from side to side as you begin to open up there. And walk the hands out far away from you as you can, keeping the hands as wide as the mat. Take a breath in, looking forwards. As you exhale, let your upper body melt down to the mat, lowering the forehead to the ground. And take a moment here to settle into your breath. Of course, you have the option to bring the hands under the forehead or grab a cushion if that makes this a little more comfortable. Let your breath slow down and lengthen. You might feel as you breathe that you lift your body away from the ground very slightly on the inhale as the breath fills up the body. And then on the exhale, there's a really nice release as you melt down to the ground again. Now lift your gaze, look forwards and just bring those hands in slightly. Lift the wrists, so just the fingertips are on the ground. And we'll start to move through the spine, through cat and cow, going a little deeper into the hips as well. So lift the chest and lift your gaze as much as you can. The back is arched a little bit here. Take a breath in. Then as you exhale, pull in from the belly button, so round your back, and then tuck the chin down. Again, inhale, let the belly drop down, lift the chest, slowly lifting the head. Exhale, pull in from the belly button, round the back, tuck the chin down. Once more, inhale, looking forwards, dropping the belly, tilting the pelvis forwards. And exhale, tilting the pelvis back as you round the back, pull in from the belly and lower the head. Now come through to a neutral spine, lift up onto the hands and bring the knees in just slightly. We're still going to keep the big toes together and keep the knees just a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Hands are down under the shoulders now. Reach up with the right hand, open up through the chest, reaching up to the ceiling. Just find your breath here, really lifting your chest, so actively turning from the chest and lifting up. And then bring this right hand onto the lower back. Bring the back of the hand onto the lower back and lift the chest a little bit more. If you have long arms like me, you might find you can even take that hand a little further around so it comes onto the inside or the side of the left thigh. So reaching across the lower back so that you can open the chest a little more, pulling that shoulder back. Just go to where you can with this. Then from here, we're going to tuck the toes under and sit back towards the heels, coming into a twist here. Bring this left hand across to the right thigh and go a little deeper into this twist. Big stretch for the feet at the same time. And one more breath. Now reach that left hand forwards, coming back to where we were. Reach the right arm up, big breath in. As you exhale, we're going into thread the needle pose. So take this right hand, thread it under the left arm, reach all the way through, turning to look to the left, and lower down so your head and right shoulder come onto the mat. Shuffle slightly so that the shoulders move down away from the ears, the neck is long. Reach that right hand through and let the back of the right hand rest onto the ground. Press down into the left palm to lift the left shoulder away from the ground. So you might still be feeling this in the hips a little bit, but we've also got a rotation in the upper back, and a nice stretch for that right shoulder. One more breath here. Then really press down into the left palm, pull up from your lower belly, engage your core as you peel yourself up and back onto both hands. Nice, we'll take that to the other side. Lift the left hand, reach up to the sky, open the chest. Find your breath here first. Really pressing into the right palm so that you lift away from the ground, rather than sinking down into that right shoulder. Okay, then bring a bend into this left elbow, bring the back of the hand onto the lower back like this, or maybe reaching round a little bit more and bringing that hand across towards the right thigh, or in that direction. Lift the shoulder, lift the chest. Then with the toes tucked, sit back towards the heels. Take this right hand across to the left thigh, lift up tall, maybe moving a little further into your twist. One more breath. Then reach this right hand forwards, place it down again. You can untuck the toes if you prefer. Reach this left arm up to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, thread the needle. Bring that left hand under the right arm, reaching all the way through, lowering the head and the left shoulder down to the mat. Again, just make sure the shoulders are far away from the ears. So shuffle the shoulders down, lengthen the neck. Let this left hand rest with the palm facing up and press into this right palm to lift the shoulder, to deepen that twist in the back. Nice long breaths. Thinking of these twisting postures like a sponge being wrung out. All of the stress in your body being wrung out like a sponge. Okay, then press down into this right palm, pull in from the lower belly, engaging the core, reaching up, place that hand down. Now bring the knees under the hips, tuck the toes, take the hands a little further forwards, and lift up to downward facing dog. Keep a bend in the knees to begin with and just reach the hips up high. Opening up through the shoulders, pressing firmly into the palms. Then reach one heel down towards the mat, keeping the opposite knee bent, and just hold there for a moment. Big stretch for the calf, for that hamstring. Then bending both knees again, drop the opposite heel down. Reaching that heel down, stretch out the back of the leg, keep pushing into the hands. And then let both heels sink down towards the mat. Keep lifting the hips high, pressing through the palms. Just one more breath here in downward facing dog. Then bend the knees, look forwards. Just walk the feet up about halfway. Take the feet as wide as the mat and then bring the hands in, bending the knees so the fingertips can come to the mat. We're going to sink the hips down into Malasana, this squat position. So maybe turn the toes out slightly if you need to. Let the hips sink all the way down into this squat. Opening out the knees so you can use the upper arms to press the knees out. Then bring your weight onto the hands, lift the hips up again. Once more, let the hips drop down, lifting the chest in Malasana. And then bring the weight onto the hands, lift the hips going to this forward fold, maybe straightening the legs if that feels like a nice stretch. If not, keep the knees bent. Nice, then bring the hands out in front, placing the palms ready for downward facing dog, and just walk the feet back to where you began in downward facing dog. Then reach the right leg up for three-legged dog. Open out this hip, bend the knee, let that foot just drop over as you reach the knee up high. Pressing down with the left heel, pressing into both palms. Take another breath here. And then bring that foot down. Going to the other side, lift up the left leg. Stretch that leg out, bend the knee, let the foot drop over as you reach the knee up towards the ceiling. Press down through the right heel, press through the palms, pull in from the belly. Big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then let that foot come all the way down. Nice. We're going to lift up onto the tips of the toes and shift the weight forwards into plank. Then drop the knees down, release the toes, and gently lower your body down to the mat. Bring the arms out in front of you for Sphinx pose. So shuffle the arms out so that the elbows come under the shoulders. Toes are pointing back, the legs are long. We press down into the elbows, palms face down, and we lift the chest. Try and keep the shoulders nice and wide. So if you need to, take the elbows a little wider. Nice and broad through the chest. Keep pressing into the elbows, lifting the chest. And just let the chin drop down. So we're not sinking down towards the ground, we're still keeping the chest lifted, but the chin drops. Find a stretch through the back of the neck. Keep the chin low and take your nose over towards your right shoulder. Inhale. Exhale back down to the centre. Keep pressing into the elbows. Take the nose over towards the left shoulder. Inhale. And then exhale back through to the centre. Lift the head up. And then take the elbows a little wider and just gently lower your body down. Bring both hands back under the shoulders. Tuck the toes. Gently press up onto the knees. And then lift the hips to downward facing dog. Just take a couple of breaths here, maybe pedaling out the feet, reaching those hips up high. Then just walk the feet to the centre of the mat again. And with a bend in the knees, take a slow roll up the spine, coming all the way up to stand. We're going to take the feet wide, going into a wide forward fold. One last opener for the hips. We're going to get a bit more of a stretch for the shoulders at the same time. So take the feet wide, have the heels a little bit wider than the toes. So toes are turned in very slightly. Straighten those legs as much as you can. Then bring the arms out in front. We're coming into eagle arms, Garudasana. So if you know where you're going straight away, we'll go right arm over left to begin. You can go straight into it. But if you're not quite sure, we're going to cross the right arm over the left, bend at the elbows, bring the hands to the shoulders. So right elbow stacked on top of the left. And then try lifting the arms like this, so the backs of the hands come together. Right elbow is tucked inside the left. Drop the shoulders down and reach the elbows away from you. If this doesn't feel good for your shoulders, just come back to here, or you can do this whole thing with the hands on the hips instead. If you're in this version of eagle arms with the arms lifted, you can try taking a second wrap around of the hands if they come quite close naturally, So this left hand you're going to bring towards the face and wrap around a second time. Find your version of eagle arms. Shuffle the shoulders down, reach the elbows away. Reach the hands away from the face too. Now take a big breath in. As you exhale, keep the legs straight, hinge from the hips, come down into a forward fold. Lift those hips up, press down into the feet, find your breath here. Try and keep the shoulders down away from the ears. Shrug the shoulders down. Find your breath. Press down into the feet, slowly rise back up. Unravel the arms, stretch them out wide, and let the arms come down. Moving to the other side, bring the arms out in front, cross the left arm over the right, bend the elbows, bring hands to the shoulders, left elbow on top of the right, give yourself a nice hug, and then lift those arms up, find your expression of Garudasana. So left elbow's tucked into the right now, maybe taking that second wrap around by bringing the right hand towards the face and wrapping again. If this is too much, come back to here. Shrug the shoulders down, reach the elbows and the hands away from the face. Take a breath in, lift up tall. Exhale, straight legs, forward fold. Keep the breath long and steady. Then lifting all the way up. Let that breath out as you go. Release the arms, big stretch out, and let the arms come down. Should feel quite nice to shuffle those feet in. Bring them to about hip distance apart, turn the toes out slightly, and we'll sink down into Malasana. One last pose, bring the fingertips to the mat, lift the chest. If this one's really not good for you, you can sit down, bring the soles of the feet together and open the knees wide in Baddha Konasana instead. You might find that the heels lift here as well, that's fine too. Keep the chest lifted. I'm going to go for one final twisting pose here, nice big opener for the chest and the shoulders and of course for the hips. So take your right arm, bring that arm down so it's in front of the right knee. And take that hand across like this. So the shoulder is almost underneath this knee. You might feel that stretch going a little deeper through the groin. Then lift the left arm, reach it up to the sky. Nice, breathe here. There's the option to take a bind here. So what I mean by that is lifting up this right hand, turning the palm to face away from you to the right. So internally rotating that shoulder. Then bending at the elbow, bringing that arm around behind you, bringing the left arm down and clasping the hands behind the back. That's not going to work for everyone. I've got really long arms, so it does work for me. If you are there, lift and open the chest a little more. If not, keep that hand down and stay as you were here. One more breath. If you're in a bind, gently release. Bring everything back to the center, lift the chest. We'll go to the other side, bring this left arm under the knee, take that hand down, reach the right arm up. Breathe. If you want to try this bind on the other side, turn this left palm to face away to the left, internally rotate the shoulder, take that bend that elbow and take that hand around, bring the right hand down, clasp the hands behind the back and lift the chest. Again, just go with where you are. Don't force or strain into something that your body's not quite ready for today. One more breath. And gently release, bring everything back to the center, lift the chest. Walk the hands behind you and gently lower down. Bring the feet together in front of you, bring the knees close. Hug the arms around the legs and let the forehead rest onto the knees. Pause here and deepen the breath. And slowly roll up the spine. Bring the legs into a comfortable seated position. Close your eyes, bring the palms together in front of the heart. And we'll close our practice with the word Namaste, which means the light and the life within me bows to the light and the life within you. Namaste.